What if the very thing you've been begging God to remove is actually the thing He's using to build you? What if the silence you've been interpreting as absence is actually the most intentional form of presence? Sit with that, because what we're about to explore might completely change how you see the season you're in right now. There's a particular kind of pain that doesn't have a name. It's not grief exactly. It's not failure exactly. It's the feeling of being in between. You've left one version of yourself behind, but the next version hasn't fully arrived yet. You're praying. You're being faithful. You're doing the work. And yet the breakthrough feels like it's just around a corner you can never quite reach. Maybe you've been trusting God with something for months, maybe years. And the people around, you seem to be moving forward, getting the jobs, the relationships, the open doors, while you're still standing in the same hallway, wondering whether your prayers are landing anywhere at all. Here's what I want you to know before we go any further: you are not forgotten. You are not behind. What's happening in this season is not random. There is a pattern, a consistent, recognizable pattern that shows up before significant blessing arrives. And once you understand it, it reframes almost everything you've been experiencing. Here's the foundation of everything we're going to talk about today. God rarely blesses a person He hasn't first prepared, and preparation is uncomfortable by design. It is not a waiting room. It is active construction, happening beneath the surface of your life, in the places you least want to examine. Think about a fruit tree. Before it produces anything, years pass where it appears to do almost nothing. From the outside, it's just a tree. But underground, an entire infrastructure is being built. Root systems deepening, the capacity to bear weight developing invisibly. The fruit doesn't appear until the tree is structurally ready to hold it. That is where many of you are right now. What feels like dormancy is actually density. You are being built for something your current structure couldn't carry yet. So what, specifically, does God do first? There are 4 things, and each one tends to feel like a problem until you understand what it actually is. The first is this: He interrupts your self-sufficiency. There's a version of you that believes, even if you'd never say it out loud, that with enough strategy and effort you can engineer your own breakthrough, and for a while that works. You're capable. You make things happen. But then the strategy stops working. The door stays closed. The plan unravels, and your instinct is to push harder. What if the unraveling is intentional? What if God is dismantling your reliance on your own ability, not because your ability is wrong, but because the blessing ahead requires a foundation that human effort alone cannot sustain? A door you force open, you'll have to keep forcing. But something God opens carries a different weight entirely. It sustains differently. It lasts differently. The interruption of your self-sufficiency is not humiliation. It is the beginning of a different kind of strength. The second thing God does is clarify your character through pressure. You don't discover who you really are in comfortable seasons. You discover it when the comfortable options are removed, when you're exhausted and still asked to be kind, when you're overlooked and still asked to show up with integrity. There's a process in metalwork called tempering, where a blade is heated to extreme temperature and then cooled in a controlled way. This doesn't weaken the metal, it realigns its molecular structure, making it more resilient, less brittle, capable of absorbing impact it couldn't handle before. God is tempering your character right now. The pressure of this season is not punishment, it is precision. He is not trying to break you. He is preparing you to carry something that would have broken the earlier version of you. Blessing without character to hold it is not actually a blessing. History is full of people who received what they wanted before they were ready for it, and watched it destroy them. The pressure you're under is protecting you from that outcome. The third thing is quieter but just as significant. He repositions your relationships. This part rarely announces itself. It just feels like loss. People you counted on become distant. Friendships that felt permanent begin to fade. Spaces where you once belonged start to feel unfamiliar. The temptation is to chase those connections, to wonder what you did wrong. But sometimes the shifting of relationships in a preparation season has nothing to do with what you did. It has everything to do with where you're going. Not every person in your current chapter has the capacity for your next one. The work ahead requires people who speak to what God is building in you, not just people who are comfortable with who you've always been. When voices fade and the circle gets quiet, resist the urge to fill that silence immediately. Some of the most important clarity of your life arrives in exactly that space. The fourth thing God does is assign you something small. This is the one most people miss entirely, because we're watching for the grand gesture, the dramatic sign, the obvious open door. But preparation almost never arrives dramatically. It arrives in the form of something that feels minor, a responsibility beneath your perceived level, a role that seems like a detour from where you expected to be. And the question God is asking in that moment is not whether you can handle the big thing. It's whether you'll honor the small thing. The way you handle little is a direct measurement of whether you're ready for much. Your faithfulness in the small assignment isn't just proving something, it's building something. The habits, the humility, the consistency when no one is watching. These are being installed now, so they're already part of you when the larger season arrives. Don't treat small beginnings as a sign that you're falling behind. They may be the very road that leads forward. So how do you actually move through this season without losing your footing? Change the question you're asking. Most people are asking, when? When will this end? When will things shift? That question keeps you fixated on the exit. A better question is what? What is being built in me right now? What would I notice if I stopped watching the door and started paying attention to what's happening inside? Bring your full self to whatever is in your hands today. Not the assignment you're waiting for, the one you actually have. How you show up in this season shapes who you are when the next one arrives. And release the timeline. The schedule you built in your head, the age by which you'd have this, the year by which that would happen is not the enemy. But your grip on it might be. God's timing is not slow, it is precise. A blessing that arrives before you're ready to hold it is not a gift. It's a weight you'll collapse under. Here is where I want to leave you. 4 things happen before the blessing. Your self-sufficiency gets interrupted, your character gets clarified, your relationships get repositioned, and you get a small assignment that tests your faithfulness in the quiet. None of those feel like preparation while you're in them. They feel like setbacks, they feel like silence, they feel like being forgotten. But people who have walked through seasons like this one often describe the same thing looking back. A clarity about why the timing mattered that they simply couldn't see from the inside. The difficulty wasn't the obstacle, it was the preparation. You are not stuck, you are being built. Stay faithful, stay present, stay rooted. For those who hold on, the testimony has consistently been the same. It was worth every silent day. That has been true before. It can be true again. If this resonated with you today, it may be worth sitting with before moving on. And if you know someone walking through a hard season right now, share this with them. Sometimes the most powerful thing we can do for someone is simply remind them they are not forgotten.